Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up during inflation, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold!
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See detail.
What the f*** do you mean what am I talking about? Out here talking you! Minor league mother is what you are.
I'll tell you guys something right fucking now. It's not easy to be a fucking champion, all right? It's the hardest fucking thing there is to do. Are you guys that fucking good? You're not. I'll tell you that right the fuck now. Wise up. Buddy, go ahead and say what the fuck you want to say.
Love you. All right, welcome to this week's episode. It's going to be a great show. It's 86, the Wally Backman Show. He's Wally Backman right there. Good to see you, Wally. How are you today, brother?
I'm doing great today, Bruce. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing excellent, and I like to make small talk with you. But today, Wally, we're going to make this very small talk because waiting in the wings is a great guest that you've lined up. I have to say, one of my favorite Mets, and truly the guy that showed us Met fans, with all due respect to you and Eddie Lynch and Hubie Brooks, Mookie Wilson got some of the pub back there, probably because of the unique name. And to me, he was the first block that said, misery is over, good times are coming, Met fans. And so we're going to talk to Mookie Wilson here in just a moment. Wally, real quick, Mookie Wilson is a teammate for you?
Hey, one of my best friends and one of the key ingredients to us winning the World Series in 1986.
Yeah. All right, without further ado, and included, by the way, not sure if Mookie's ever done this. We're going to go through the most famous at-bat in the history of the New York Mets, and Mookie can tell us his mindset, what he's looking for, and all that stuff. Let's get right to it. It's the great Mookie Wilson on 86th with Wally Backman.
Mookie Wilson. Little roller up along first. Behind the man. It gets through Buster. Here comes Knight, and the Mets win it.
All right, it's 86, the Wally Backman Show, and this is one of the great honors, one of the great pleasures, and we welcome to the program one of the heroes, if not the hero of Game 6, and we're going to go through this exciting at-bat. Ladies and gentlemen, Met legend Mookie Wilson joining us here on 86th. And Mookie, I'm Bruce, and of course, I know you know that guy up there, Wally Backman. It is great to have you on the program. Thanks for some of your time.
Again, thank you for having me.
All right, Mookie, we're going to go through this at-bat in just a few minutes. It's the most epic at-bat in the history of the Mets, and that's saying a lot considering the tens and tens and tens of thousands of at-bats. Yeah. But let's we started this out talking about the building of the Mets starting in 1980. You and Wally, we had Eddie Lynch on the program last week, and you started to see a little bit of talent. Mookie, I remember the first time I heard your name, Bob Murphy was doing a game in Atlanta. It was another bad Mets season. And he said, Met fans, there's reason to be really optimistic. The Mets have a young guy down in Tidewater, I believe at the time, named Mookie Wilson. And he's going to be up in the big leagues real soon, maybe next season. And he was right on the money. Can you talk about being drafted by the Mets, a team that, was pretty woeful most of their existence, and just give us your thoughts on being drafted by the Mets.
Well, first of all, I was complete shock when I was drafted by the Mets. So I didn't really follow Major League Baseball a whole lot. And in all honesty, I wasn't even a baseball fan. I was a baseball player. If I didn't play baseball, I wasn't interested in watching it, to be honest with you. Mets drafted me in, in 77. That was the total shock. I had no idea. Baseball was not a career choice for me. It was something I did because I loved it. It gave me an opportunity to go to school. So it's not something that I was planning and prepared myself for over the years. So when I was drafted by the Mets, be honest with you, I knew nothing about the Mets. I didn't know where the Mets played. I knew nothing about the Mets. In South Carolina, you don't see any Met games. You see Brave games or Dodger games. That's it. Back then we had what we call Wild World of Sports. Back then, you only got to see the Dodgers or the Braves. That was it. Yeah. Or the Yankees on occasion down in South Carolina. So it was a total shock to me. I had no idea who the Mets were.
Had you ever been to New York, Mookie?
I had never been to New York until I got called up. In September. I didn't know in New York. I knew it was cold. I knew it like that. But other than that, I knew nothing of New York. Didn't know anything about Flushing. Didn't know anything about Manhattan. Didn't know about Brooklyn, the Bronx. I mean, those are just words in history books. But yeah, I knew nothing about New York. Nothing. Not one single thing.
I'm the same way, Mook. I had never been to New York until we got called to the big leagues. It was crazy. I lived with a former player. I don't know if you remember him, Keith Bodie, that I played with in AA, but I stayed at his family's house in Brooklyn and seen some crazy stuff. But what a rare thing to come up with. I live in Oregon still. I had never been east of Salt Lake City, and now I'm in New York City, and it was crazy, man.
I know the feeling, man. I didn't go past North Carolina. As far as I went, man, North Carolina.
Hey, how'd you do? Did they have that hurricane?
Huh?
You get any part of that rain and stuff there?
Oh yeah, we had lots of rain, man. We still trying to drain some of the water off the land. I mean, water's just running everywhere. But I didn't get the wind because I'm a little more inland than like Myrtle Beach and Charleston and Savannah, all those areas. But yeah, we got plenty of rain, but we did all right. We did all right.
Mookie, when did you first meet Wally Backman?
In Jackson. in Jackson, man, that's the first time I met Wally. Because when I signed, I went straight to Warsaw, Wisconsin. I don't know where Wally went. Wally, where did you go?
Well, I was young. You were older, Mook. I went not to Lynchburg. I went to Little Falls at first.
You went to Little Falls.
Little Falls, New York. I remember and Bruce, people don't know this, but Mookie and his wonderful wife, Rosa, they got married in Jackson, Mississippi with everybody holding bats over the top. It was a memorable thing. And you make sure you tell Rosa I love her, Mook, after you're done with this. What a special day.
Yeah, it was great. And that was my first full season because I only played a month in Warsaw. Only a month. That was it. And then I went to AA. So that was
So Mookie, if you hadn't played baseball, what was your mindset then of what you were going to do for a living if you had settled in on something?
Well, back then I was raised on a farm, which is no secret. But and I was determined not to be a farmer. I was not going to be a farmer at all. I watched my father do it for years. I wasn't doing that. But I had already taken the test to go into the Air Force. And I was going to be a mechanical engineer. That is what I really wanted to do. My father was a big mechanic, and I learned to tinker with cars and stuff of that nature. So I took the Air Force test, and I passed it, and that's where I was headed. School came secondary, and it kind of worked out for me, but that was not my plans.
So what did your father or your parents say about you possibly playing Major League Baseball, or did they recommend to you to maybe try something that's a little bit more stable?
Well, my father was a baseball nut, okay, and that's putting it mildly. He loved the game of baseball, taught me everything I needed to know about the game, and that number one was to have fun. He taught me that, and I played every weekend with my father and my brothers and stuff. I was the first sibling. I was the first child to go to college, and my father really wanted me to stay in college. He did not. Matter of fact, when I was drafted by the Dodgers, he didn't want me to sign. I didn't sign when I was drafted by the Dodgers. I didn't sign. He wanted me to stay in school, which I did. But he loved the game, and I don't think that he thought baseball was a career. Anyway, we loved the game, but we didn't know baseball would ever be part of a a career, and I don't think he saw that part of the game. And he watched every game he could watch. And but baseball, like I said, was in my plans, wasn't his plans, but education was, and that's where I was headed. I was going to the Air Force.
Hey, Mook, I think about the days when you, me, Hubie, Eddie Lynch were in Tidewater with Frank Verde as our manager, God rest his soul.
Yes, Frank.
They had me hit third in that lineup. You should
I
have been hitting
know. How crazy was
second. I
that?
should have hit first, or vice versa, and Hubie should have hit third. Like I said, God rest Frank Verde's soul.
Yeah.
We were not a good team, and we had great players.
Oh no, but we won, Wally. We had a good year.
Yeah,
we had good years down there. I think it was what was it, me, you, and Hubie hit in a line. That's how it was.
yeah.
Do you remember? Yeah, we like 1, 2, 3. And my second year is when I started switch hitting. Believe it or not,
Right, I remember.
started switch hitting my second year. And it's funny how things turned out. But I thought no, Frank wasn't really, because a lot of times we did the lineup, we pulled these out of a hat.
No, it was amazing. I don't know what you felt, but I remember when all three of us, I think it was Hubie, yourself, and myself, when we got called and met the team in Dodger Stadium or whatever it was. And the thrill of that moment, I remember Joe Torre coming to me, and I didn't even take batting practice. We got there late to the stadium.
We got there late.
Yeah. And Joe says, "How do you feel?" And I said, "I feel great." He says, "Well, you're playing second base." And my heart just fell all the way down to my toes.
I know.
I can't remember. Did you play in that first game too?
I shocked me. Joe called me in to see I was starting.
Yep. No, I was amazed. But what a great time. I mean, it's hard for people to understand what that moment is like. And even when we went to the World Series, that moment, I know every one of us had the butterflies game one, or even in the playoffs against Houston. But what a moment that you wish everybody could experience stuff like that.
Wally, I really agree with you. We were now playing on the field against the guys we just watched the last weekend on television. That's how surreal it was. I mean, I'm looking at Dustin Baker, Ron Say, Steve Garvey, Yeager. I just watched them on television. I mean, it's like I was, for lack of a better term, I was starstruck.
Me too.
I know I didn't get a hit, but I don't remember nothing else about the game. I was too busy watching the other guys in the other team. It's amazing.
So did you guys both make your debut on the same game?
Dodger Stadium.
Dodger Stadium.
Cow, what are the chances? What are the chances that you both made your debut on the same? That's incredible, man. That's
you know what I gotta say? I gotta say something. I'm trying to figure out in 1977 how I was the number one pick and Mookie was the second round pick. He could run faster. He had more power. I don't know what the scouts were thinking, but we both had great careers. And Mookie, tell me, I love you like a brother.
Yeah. But something, I was an older player, my third year of college. And the feeling was, and I understand it, you have an older player who really didn't have what choices would I have to go back to school and finish your senior year, which no one really wanted to do. I think it was a bigger risk of them picking me first and you second, you being a high school kid. You had a lot of options. I only had one other option, So I get it. I really get it. And it was, I came from a small town. I didn't have much recognition, other than playing at the University of South Carolina. No one knew who I was, So yeah, I get it. It was a crapshoot. It was a crapshoot, and hey, it rolled out perfect for us, man. Because I tell you what, we had a really good time.
Luke, you know what we did, brother?
Right.
Let me see if I can get that up there. We
you got that right.
Yeah,
You
no,
got
we
that.
won one of those. Not many guys get to do that.
You know something? That's one of my prized possessions, and I keep it. You see that big safe I got behind me? That's where it is. I don't wear it, because that means more to me to have it than to have it on my fingers. I don't. No, no, no. That's a piece of gold to me, man. That
So when you're out representing the Mets or at a function, you never wear that ring.
No, I don't wear it. I,
Interesting.
I don't. I don't wear it. Um, there's certain things that are just too valuable to display,
Yeah.
and that me, I'm just a fear of either losing it or something happening to it, and you can't get it back.
Well,
You,
I'll give you my replica. I bought a replica ring. It was a television commercial that Met
yeah,
fans we could buy a
yeah.
replica.
And
So
I tell you, I've done a lot of things, and I have a lot of toys and stuff that I really value. But that little ring,
yeah,
that means more to me than anything else I've ever accomplished. You
that's so
know,
awesome.
it really is.
I agree, Mook,
Yeah.
100% with you. Hey, so Mook, so I know you're still with the Mets.
Yeah.
What is your what do you do with the Mets? Like you're an ambassador.
Yes.
What does that entail?
Well, I'm an ambassador. That's the official title, and it's really the right arm of PR. Is what we do. I go around. I speak the schools. I attend functions. With management a lot of times. A lot of charity things that the Mets are involved in. A lot of community stuff that Mets are really involved with. A lot of community stuff, and I do a lot
That's
of
good.
that. Yeah. I assist them when they um, promoting the sales for season tickets and stuff of that nature. Um, I basically, to make a long story short, I shake hands and kiss babies. That's what I do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's all
And
right.
hey,
It's they're lucky to have you, brother.
we're joined by
I
the great
tell you,
we're
it's a lot
joined
of
by the
fun.
great
Hey,
Mookie Wilson. Sorry about that, Wally.
how
We're
about
joined by the great
fantasy camp?
Mookie
You going to
Wilson.
fantasy camp this year?
Oh, you're going to see me. I'm going to be there for 2, maybe 3 weeks. Uh, you know,
They haven't called me yet, but I want to go with you, brother. So
I
I
just
did it
found
last
out.
year. I had a
I
blast.
just found out a couple of days ago. I just found
Okay.
out. Yeah, I just found
Okay.
out.
So
I'll be
I
going
haven't
down.
looked at my email. So,
Yeah.
but
So I go down and get some time off, and it gets the guy get to go down and see my grandkids and spend a week maybe before the camp and stuff like that. Anyway, so it's really good.
So
no, it's a
Mookie,
fun time.
sorry, Wally. Let me. So 1980, you both called up at the same time.
Yeah.
When do you start noticing, and both of you, when do you both start noticing, you know what, they're really starting to upgrade the talent here? Obviously, Keith comes along in 83. We'll talk about that. But
Yeah.
before Keith got there, did either one of you see? I mean, you mentioned some of the guys,
Yeah.
Eddie Lynch and Huey Brooks, etc. Did you really see a noticeable difference and really think, hey, you know what? It's not going to be long before we're pretty good.
To be be honest with you, none of that crossed my mind until we got back to New York. That first couple of days, that first week, it was all about adjusting. Cause we're in California now. We left LA and went to San Diego. They do the 3 trips while we were there. They did LA, San Diego, San Francisco. Because I remember that because I didn't get my first hit until we got to San Diego. That's why that stands out. Um, but I didn't really look at the team until we got to New York. Now you have time to sit back and kind of say, okay, I'm here now. What do I do? And when I looked around, um, I knew what they were going to do. And now not only me, the older players knew what was happening. I had this conversation with some of the players before. They knew that this was changing of the guards. They knew it was coming. They didn't know how fast. And I don't think they expected that many guys. Normally a team had one guy here, another guy there, but the Mets brought up 4, and that were going to play significant roles, with the organization. And it did. And I didn't think about it at the time, but then after, like I said, after the first week, I start sitting back, I'm saying, okay, we might be the beginning of things to come, and you had to start preparing yourself for it.
Nope, I
Wally, any
agree with
thought
you,
on
Mook.
it?
100%, I agree with Mook. I mean, I can remember going to the West Coast when we all flew out to LA, and then we come home, and Joe Pignatano. I don't know what Joe's title was, if he was the bench coach, or I think he was
He
the
was the
bench coach.
bullpen coach. He was in charge of
Yeah.
the
Bullpen
tomatoes.
coach. Well, he used to do Dory's lineup. He'd write his lineup down every day.
Yeah.
And so me and Hubie were staying at the hotel uh, in Queens there, and Joe Pignatano. We go to the park early, and Joe Pignatano puts up the lineup. Frankie Traveris was the shortstop,
Yep.
and Frankie tore the lineup down 2 or 3 times. And Joe Pignatano, I'm 20 years old. Joe Pignatano's fighting with Frankie Traveris because Frankie's not happy that he's not playing, and that was kind of my first thing about
Yeah.
New York. I was like, this is crazy. I mean, I get it. But like Mookie had said, we knew that everything was changing.
Yeah.
And I mean, once you could sit down and realize it, and we knew that we had the Darryl Strawberries, the Dwight Goodens, the Lenny Dyksters. We knew that those people were behind us, because you're always looking as a player, what's behind you? Who's going to push you
Yeah.
out of the way? Who are you going to push out of the way? And we pushed some great people out of the way, but great players, great careers.
Yeah.
I enjoyed every single minute, especially playing
So,
with this guy, Mookie Wilson.
Yeah.
did either one of you face any heat from the veterans? Mookie, as you pointed out, they saw that young players were starting to come, which means that some of them may have been on the go. And I could see where veteran players, there's only so many jobs where they may not be so helpful to
Yeah.
young guys like you and Wally and Hubie and some of the others. Did you face any of that?
No, we never faced any adversity. But the one thing that I remember, John Stearns, bad dude, God bless him. I
The
remember
bad
him.
dude.
I remember him yelling in the clubhouse one day, after we just gotten beat by somebody, and Bad Stearns says, he's just screaming at guys, and he starts saying, you know, you got guys that are going to be taking you guys' place soon, and we're playing like this, you know. And I always thought that was weird for him to say that, but Stern was kind of like the leader at that time. He was the vocal leader anyway, and I wasn't afraid to say what was on his mind. Some guys didn't like it, but we had, like Wally said, we had some great guys on our team. Doug Flynn, we had Steve Henderson, and those great guys. And I see Steve quite often right now. We are good friends, and he kind of took me under his wing and kind of said, okay, this is what happens here in New York. This is what we do, blah, 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 blah. So he really helped me along the way. So I really I didn't get the impression that they didn't want us there. You know, but that's why I say I think that they knew what was happening. A lot of guys knew what was happening. And I think Stearns probably knew more than anybody else. But, you had, Ron Hodges, and you have Frank Trevor, who knew Dougie Flynn. And Dougie talks about it right now. He knew Dougie. Dougie, very intelligent guy. Dougie said, well, hey, I'm good, but guys are going to be taking our place pretty soon. Joe Youngblood, guys like that. So I thought that they received us very well. Now, I don't know about Wally because he's in the infield. I'm in the outfield. And I never got any feedback from other players or the resentment or anything of that nature. They would go out every day was just like the next day, and we played. And like I said, Steve Henderson helped me along the way a great deal, man. I owe him a lot, but it was good. I think the guys really was accepting what was happening.
When it comes to towing, seeing is believing. That's why Chevy Truck's advanced camera technology offers up to 8 available cameras for 14 unique views, so you can focus on the view that really matters. Chevrolet, together let's drive. Learn more about Chevy Trucks at Chevy.com. Safety or driver assistance features are no substitute for the driver's responsibility to operate the vehicle in a safe manner. Read the vehicle owner's manual for important feature limitations and information.
You're right, Mook. I learned a lot from another name when we first went to the big leagues, Danny Norman.
Danny Norman. Yeah.
Great guy,
Great guy.
strong,
Yep.
but all those guys, they all kind of took us under their wing a little bit. It was used to be where they would push the young guys away. But
Yeah.
I thought, when we first went to the big leagues, that these guys kind of took us under their wings, knowing
Yeah.
that we were going to be there.
Yeah.
And they helped us. And,
Yeah.
God bless them, because, it doesn't happen in baseball very often when you get those type of people that are going to help you. I go back to the Rusty Staub days when Rusty was there before we won the World Series, and I think he retired in '85.
Yeah.
Then we won the World Series. He would tell me little things about pitchers, and he would say, "Wally, watch this. You cannot tell anybody, not even your teammates. I'm telling you
Yeah.
because I want you to succeed or whatever." And I never did. Mario Soto was one where the changeup was above his belt, the fastball was below his belt. He was a great pitcher, and we stunk at that certain time. And I got more hits off of him than probably anybody.
But it's funny that those guys, when I played in the minor leagues, I played on sheer talent. I just went out and played, run as hard as I can, throw as hard as I can, swing as hard as I could. I didn't really get to dissect and evaluate pitchers and defenses, anything, until I got to the big leagues and you start talking to those guys on the bench and stuff of that nature. And like Wally say, if stealing bases, I used to just run, but I get there and then all of a sudden I start talking. Not only guys on the Mets team, I talk with guys on other teams that were willing to give you little information and stuff. I won't call the names and stuff because I don't think that's the right thing to do. But guys that really helped me along the way. The Mets didn't have really base stealers and stuff of that nature, so there was nobody there to really help me with that. But I got a lot of information from other players and stuff of that nature. But the hitting part of it, I was stubborn when it came to hitting. When it came to hitting, I was stubborn because I had one way of doing it. And I didn't have the discipline to do what a lot of guys. Speaking of Rusty, I didn't have the discipline to do what Rusty did. And Rusty talked to me a lot, but I didn't have that discipline to wait and to no. I see it and I'm hitting it. That's the bottom line.
Look, you wanted to hit the ball and run, brother. You wanted to see it, hit it, and run.
That's it. That's all it was. And to me, that was fun. I didn't want to make the game more complicated than it was already was. Plain and simple.
All right, so let's get to 83 now, Mookie. The team's not very good in 80 and 81, 82, but you guys are getting some experience, and then boom, the shot heard around baseball. The Mets got who? Wait, the New York Mets acquired Keith Hernandez for Rick Ownby and Neil Allen. Nothing against those two fine gentlemen, but, we're talking about a co-MVP who fell out of favor in St. Louis. Did things change right away? Did you guys know, hey, this is serious business now. We're moving out of being the Mutts, and we're going to be heading to the Mets again?
Well, here's the thing. Before we got Keith, and Wally probably can attest to this, we were still losing, but we were giving ourselves a chance, and that started before Keith got there. We were still losing, but we were in games that we had an opportunity to win, and I started to feel good about that. I know people say, well, how can you feel good about losing? I felt good because we were not 80 and 81 team anymore. We were better than that. And I think because number one, we were gaining some experience and we began to understand what it took to win at the big league level. And getting Keith, first of all, it was a shock that we even got him. When the news came and I said, we're getting Keith? Not Keith Hernandez, the guy we just saw it in St. Louis, because I thought he was the best first baseman I've ever seen in my life. I've never seen anybody play first base like this guy. And this is before I knew all the other things that went behind the scenes and stuff of that nature. And I'm saying, okay, to get a guy like that, what was going on, And I knew Neil and Rick Ownby, but to get a Keith Hernandez for those guys, that was a steal, So you common sense tell you that something was going on, but I knew that Keith was going to be a great addition because we really didn't have a first baseman. We had
Willie Montanez, right?
We had Mike Jurgensen, some other guys playing first base, and stuff like that. We even tinkered with Rusty over there a little bit, maybe Kingman and something. We had a bunch of people going over there playing a little first base. But we had a bona fide first baseman. We had a Gold Glover, and not to mention the kind of hitter he was. I didn't know the professional he was until he actually got there and started talking the game, and you start talking to him. This guy was one of the smartest baseball players, so that's why he was so good. It was shocked. I think I was as shocked as anybody else because people don't give up good ball players. People don't give up good ball players. That was my first thought. So I said, well, maybe he's hurt, maybe this, that, and the other, but that was the case. But I was shocked. I don't know how Wally felt about it being an infield. I know it had to have some effect there, so I don't know.
I agree with you, Mook, 100%. I thought Keith we knew, I felt that I knew as a young player that we were getting close. And when they made the addition of Keith, and then you even got to talk about Gary, it was two pieces.
Yeah.
We were still a good team without him, but they put us over the top.
Yeah.
And when, you got to give, God rest his soul too, Frank Cashin.
Oh, yes.
You got to give my credit. He made some additions that happened.
Yeah.
I could even go into you being an everyday player and me being an everyday player. And then all of a sudden we had to platoon a little bit. They got Tuffle. I love Tuff. He was an addition. He made us a better team.
Yeah.
And you had to do it with Lenny a little bit. I think that you got to play more than I got to play, but it made us a better team. But at that age, when we're young like that, it's like, God dang it, man, I want to play every day.
Every day,
I know. But Frank had something in his mind that he got us over the top. But Gary and Keith were the two biggest additions to make us a world champion, I think.
Boy, you touched on something that's just fascinating to me, both of you guys. I mean, it's almost like you're walking in each other's shoes. You're both good players.
Yeah.
And yet, now you're being told you're both going to platoon.
Yeah.
And both of those players, they're not bad players either, Lenny and Tim Tuffle, good players. But I'm sorry, when you're a good player, now you're being told that some of your at-bats are going to be decreased. Did you guys confide in each other as somebody going through, rather similar circumstances?
That's one thing we never talked about. I never talked about it with players because, number one, it wasn't a decision made by the players. And players have their own opinions about what's going on with the team and with other players and what coaches do and stuff. As players, part of our job is to second guess the coach. And that's what we do a lot of times. But as situations come up, I didn't understand the whole platooning thing. And this is not something that I'm saying as news. I mean, I ain't spoke, with the general manager and the manager about it, when it happened, But there was a bigger goal. There was something that was bigger than just what I wanted. There was something bigger than what Wally. Say Wally and I, we played against each other. We knew what either one of us could do. Didn't matter what side. It really didn't matter. Right-handed, left-handed, it didn't matter. But they saw things a little bit different. And sometimes you have to just go with the flow. And it would have been different if I thought the player that was taking those at-bats away from me was a subpar player. Let me tell you something about Lenny Dykstra. Lenny Dykstra could play for me any day. Any day of the week. Offensively, defensively. I mean, this guy brought something to the team, to the lineup that nobody else had. Wally was a hustler. He would dive, get dirty. Sometimes I thought he was going to break his neck diving first base and stuff, trying to get away from tags and stuff. But Lenny was everything that you wanted to see in a player in that position. He was a leadoff hitter. He played center field, and he had all the tools to make it all work. What was there for me to criticize in the fact that they were taking their bats away from me? But it was not something that I don't think I ever talked to Wally about this. Now, Lenny and I had some conversations, and we got along great. we had some conversation, and we understood that this is a decision that was made. Neither one of us have anything to do with it. Let's make the best
Fascinating.
of it. And I tell you what, man, when Lenny played center field, I had an easy day because I knew a lot of those balls I had to go get. I didn't have to get them anymore because Lenny was that way, man. I really enjoyed playing with Lenny, man. And when I play, I'll go a bit farther. When I did play center, it was a joy playing beside Straw. Straw was a better ball player, defensive player than people thought he was. He covered a lot of ground. Didn't like it, but those legs are so long, man. It was an absolute joy. And when we had Lenny playing center, mine playing left, and Straw right, we had a pretty good outfield.
Yeah.
What was the complaint about?
Wally, how about you and Tim Tuffle?
I see it like when we first came to the big leagues, you, Hubie, myself, Eddie Lynch, whatever, we brought some energy to the game. And then when we made a few different changes and Lenny and Darryl and Doc came to the big leagues, it was just more energy.
Yeah.
It was the way everybody went about their business that I wish that the Mets would have kept us all together for at least 3 or 4 years because we had what it took. But, we got publicized so bad in the media about crazy things that happened here and there or whatever. Happens in every city. And every team goes through that stuff. But you know what? I enjoyed my time there. I know you still enjoy your time there. It's still a great organization. I think Cohen has done the right things. I think they're going in the right direction. I think Stern has, when you talk about, they only have 12 players, or a couple of weeks ago, they only had 12 players on the original 25-man roster or whatever. They went out and got Iglesias. They got JD Martinez. They made these additions. These guys brought energy to the game. And they have put the Mets into a position where they're in a wild card spot, and they should get there, hopefully. Starting pitching is always the key. We had great starting pitching, but let's see what happens.
No, listen, partner. Okay, that's great and all, but you ducked the question. Okay, address the question. My question was, did you and Tim Tuffle get along as well as Mookie and Lenny? And I mean, I'm sitting here shocked, not 40 years later, but at the time, because I want to play, and I'm not really. I'm not looking to be best friends with the guy who wants to take my job. That's circumstances, but I'm stunned by that. Now, Wally, I'd like you to talk about you and Timmy Tuffle.
We have always been friends. I think Timmy wanted to play. I wanted to play. I think it made Timmy and I compete, made us both better players. I think it did the same thing for Mookie and Lenny. Because we want to play. I can't think of a player that doesn't want to play on an everyday basis. And so you do everything you can to get better. I think we respected each other. I think that's what made us a great team. Davey Johnson came up. We were one of the first teams that really did the platoon like we did, other than when I played for Jim Leland in Pittsburgh in 1990. But I think it pushes a player. It gives them drive. You want to be as good as you possibly can. And it's out of our hands. Basically, it's all out of our hands because we're not making the decisions.
All right, so we get to 84. The team is in the pennant race till the end. I was there on Banner Day, that Sunday doubleheader against the Chicago Cubs. And I'll tell you what, I don't know if you guys watched the news that night, the night the Cubs clinched in Pittsburgh. But I will never forget, I've never forgotten the look on Rick Sutcliffe's face, okay? The cameras are on the field. And Rick Sutcliffe, who was acquired from Cleveland, I think he was like 15-1 with Chicago.
Yeah, he was good. Yeah.
Anyway, cameras are on the field. The Cubs are celebrating, and Sutcliffe looks over and smugly looks into the camera, and he says, "So how did those Mets do tonight?" And I turned the damn TV off. The pennant race was over. We had no wild cards.
No.
He was Cy Young that year, I think.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right. But that team, you could obviously, the standings said so, and the quality of play, and you guys got into September, and it's the first time you got into September playing some meaningful ball games. So talk about that.
We talking about 84.
84.
I think 84 probably was when you can. I honestly believe that we had a really, really good team in 84. And with any kind of luck, we probably would have been in the World Series in '84. We were that good. We had made some really good moves. The team was playing very well. Pitching was good. Everything was in place. Everything was in place. I know people like to talk about the years after that, but I think '84 told us exactly where we were. We were right where we were supposed to be at that point in time, and it would have been nice to have been in the playoffs to '84. But there's a team that just played a little bit better, a little bit better. We still had a little growing pains going on, but I thought that '84 was a really good team. And I would have put that '84 team against any other teams that we've had except the '86 team. The '86 team was different.
So Wally,
I agree 100% with you, Mook. I think back a little bit, and the winning culture is huge. And you, myself, Hubie, Lenny, Doc, Daryl, all of us, we went through a system where we won in the minor leagues. So when we all got to the big leagues, we expected to win. Yes. And I think that was a big difference in the system at that time.
Yeah. But I think also in '84, we knew that we were good, but I don't think that we expected to win. We knew we were good, but we didn't know we were good enough to win it. That's not like '85 and '86. We knew we were good and we expected to win.
100%.
So I think it was all about mindset in '84.
Yeah.
'84 is like, okay, we're here now. Where do we go from here? But no, so we were there.
The solace for me was, I don't know that anybody was going to beat the Tigers in '84 anyway. They started out in '84 like you guys in '86. They were like 34-5. Yeah. Jack Morris pitches a no-hitter in the first week of the season. You always want to think you can win. That Tiger team was pretty damn good, man. I'm not sure that anybody was going to stop them that year.
Yeah, but it's something when you start the season thinking about the playoffs. All right? When you begin the season thinking about the playoffs, you got a good team. When you start the season saying, okay, we just want to be 10 games more than last year, okay, then you take what you get. And don't let anybody fool you. Any manager that goes into spring training and said we got a chance to win it, some of them lying through the teeth, but they have to stay. We was going to spring training, and Joe Torre has his meeting about how good we're going to be. Come on, Joe, look at what we got here. You think we're going to win with this? But in '85 and '86, it was different. We went in there, we knew that we were going to win. It's just a matter of staying healthy. There was no difference, So, that's the difference between '84. '84, we were getting there, but we didn't quite I don't think we truly believed that we're ready for that final step yet.
So, Wally, let me begin with you as we roll into '85. I don't remember if you guys were the favorites. Obviously, you left the mark in '84, but as you're going into '85, Wally, are you thinking, man, this is the year? I mean, give me an idea of spring training and the mindset. This is our year. What do you guys, what you had built the year before? What's the mindset going into '85?
Well, going into '85, we thought we were going to win. I mean, there's no doubt. I think we won 99 games. Yeah. We lost to the Cardinals. And so, if I go beyond '85, when we won in '86, there was nobody going to beat us in '86. I don't care who it was. God's team couldn't beat the New York Mets in 1986. But '85 was to me, we got there. We had a chance all the way to the last 3 or 4 games of the season, and we fell short. And I think, to be honest with you, Bruce, the players that played in '86 that were there in '85, I think it pissed us all off. Yeah. And it was like, this is never going to happen again. Yeah. And that's the way we went about our business in '86, I think.
Mookie, you want to add anything to '85 before we get to the great season that is '86?
No, I think in '85, I agree with Wally 100%. I think that we believed that we could win. After 84, we believed that we could win, in 85. I think that 85, I don't think no one was more disappointed. 85 was one of the most disappointing seasons that we've had.
Yeah.
That went with the Mets. Because I
think
thought
so.
that was, we got it all here. Okay, let's go get it now. And like Wally says, it's a couple games, man, at the end there.
All right, so now we're getting to 86. Wally's described how you weren't going to lose, yet you come out of the gate. I think you 2-3 early. Us Met fans are panicking. You know how that goes. I thought we were going to win a ton. You can't be 2-3, this sort of thing. Obviously, it changed, but what are you thinking after just a handful of games? We're supposed to be really good. We're 2-3.
Go ahead,
Any thought
Wally.
on that, Mookie?
I know that year, Bruce, we went on a stretch pretty early where we won 11 in a row. I think we won 11 in a row twice during that season. I can remember that Whitey Herzog kind of says we can't beat him. And we knew we were good at that time. You should have heard some of the plane flights that when a plane had touched down, players say, "We're here." And we were there for one reason, and that was to kick their butt. And we did. And that was our whole intention. If we didn't win 2 out of 3, if there was a 3 out of 4 game series, we were upset. We didn't like ourselves. Probably
Yeah.
the worst series that we had was before we clinched. We were in
Yeah.
Philadelphia.
Yeah, that
We
was
partied hard. The players
Oh, I was
partied
there.
hard.
I was
Mookie
there.
never did. Mookie wasn't that guy, but there was a lot of us that did. But
So,
the
Mookie,
one-handed
spring.
catch by Kevin Mitchell. Come on, the one-handed catch by Kevin Mitchell.
Oh,
Have you ever seen that in
no,
baseball?
I never.
Again?
No.
I never have.
Now, Mookie, in 86, you get hurt in spring training.
Yes.
You get hit with a ball.
Yeah.
I don't think people realize just how serious that was.
Watch it! God, dog it! Man, look, are you all right? Just stay where you are. Did it break the glass? Did it break the... Oh, God, it did.
Mookie Wilson's eye injury would keep him out of action for the first month of the season, but the Mets were still confident that they would be the team to beat in the National League.
Did you think that your eye was in jeopardy? Did you think your baseball career was in jeopardy? Because it didn't seem to get a whole lot of serious play in New York. Not that, it's an eye injury, but nobody ever thought, geez, this Mookie Wilson's career could be in danger. That was you were doing a rundown, I think, in like exhibition,
Just a rundown.
right?
Yeah, it was a rundown play. One of those freaky things. But here's the thing: that was the last play in the drill. And I'm in the drill, and I'll tell it now. And I'm in the drill, and I'm saying I'm gonna do something devilish. I'll make these guys stay out another. I'm gonna get out of the rundown and make them run it again. So that's why I even went out there in the first place, which goes to show you do things right and proper. But after the incident and I hear it, I give credit to. I went right to the hospital. They did surgery right away. I bet it wasn't 30 minutes. I was in the surgery. But baseball was the last thing on my mind at that point. I just wanted to be able to see. It wasn't about, got to get my eye back where I can get back on the field. That was the last thing on my mind. Because I had a patch in my eye for a week or so before they even would take it off. So I had no idea I did not know what was gonna happen until they took the patch off. And there was some, it took me a while to adjust into my eyes, really adjust it back. But I didn't know that the Mets and lost the first 3 games or something like that. I didn't know that he got off to a shaky start because I had other things on my mind at the time, and that would be being able to just have both my eyes back. So no, I had other things in my mind right there, and that's for not getting a lot of play. The people were so wrapped up into that team. This is what their interests were. And I don't blame them for that. This has been a long time coming with it. They had a team that they could just get behind and, it could be the talk, or not just New York. Don't let anybody fool you. The Mets were the talk of baseball world. It
Yeah.
wasn't just New York. So, and I think that was a big part of it. But I survived, and I was able to come back and join the team in May. I joined the team in May. Was it late May or something like that? But
Right.
and even then I didn't know what was going. I didn't know was going to have the same, depth perception and being able to read everything the way I've done in the past. So it was a trial and error thing, coming back to play. So, but I was never scared, because look, I could still see, and that was a blessing right there. And just being able to go back and resume my career was just icing on the cake.
All right, let's go to the head of the playoffs here. And Wally has said this. I feel the same way. Not that I was playing, but the National League Championship Series
Oh,
against the Astros. That's the best series I have ever seen. Even better than the World Series.
yes.
Talk about that. And obviously, Game 6, you got to
Yeah.
face Mike Scott. If you don't win that day, he wins the Cy Young. Bob Knepper's pitching a shutout. The
Yeah.
whole thing. Give us your thoughts on the '86 National League Championship Series.
Going into that series, and I can only speak for me, I knew that Houston was the only team that matched up with us as well as any other team. They had pitching, they had power, they had speed, and they matched up with us really, really well. It was going to come down to last man standing. Um, and we had a lot of tools. We had a lot of weapons, as did they had a lot of weapons. So we figured that game was going to go beyond the starting pitching, which it did. And the only pitcher that was just, even counting Mike Scott, we had five of the best starting pitchers in all of baseball. They probably had the next four. So, it was one of those games where I felt it was going to come down to the secondary, the bullpen, or the closer and stuff like that, which it did. Which it did,
Yeah.
because they matched up us very, very well. And I can't say that I was scared, but I was a little nervous facing the Astros.
Is that the first time, Mookie, if it even entered into your thinking that wow, we could lose? Because you guys won what 112 games that
Yeah.
year. You didn't
Yeah.
lose hardly at all. But we could lose this. Did that ever enter into the to the thought?
Well, the first thing when you go into the playoffs, you got to understand that you can lose. All right. But I knew that we played our game, that we were overall a better team. We were deeper. We had guys sitting on the bench that's been starters all their lives.
Mm-hmm.
We had a deeper, that bench, you could not put anybody on the field and say, okay, that's a drop off. Nah, we were deep. I think we were much deeper than them. So we didn't rely on one guy having a great game. We didn't rely on our one pitcher having a great game. Man, we had guys in the bullpen that could start on other teams. For instance, Aguilera was the closer for Minnesota for years. I mean, just unbelievable. Kevin Mitchell goes to San Francisco with the MVP. Come on, that team. It was one of the teams where we had a lot of respect for the other team, but we knew that we were better. Yeah, we had that one guy that was giving everybody trouble, which was Mike Scott. All right, but it had to get to Mike Scott, and it didn't.
Wally, we talk about going into Game 6 of the World Series, and we'll get there. But now you're in Game 6 of the National League Championship Series. You're losing. The season's going to come to an end.
Yeah.
And dare I say, 112 win team. This is going to be a profound disappointment. Wally, going into the series, and as the series played out, did you become more fearful, Wally, that you might lose?
I thought it was all based on pitching. I know we had a great offense, but they had a great pitching staff. We had a great pitching staff. I think the one thing that was so big is we had some of our big players they were more worried about Mike Scott than I think Mookie and I were.
Yeah. Yes.
Because if we had to face him in Game 7, I mean, we put the balls in a bucket, and guys were upset, blah blah blah, whatever. Hey, you do everything you can to win, and I think it upset guys. Mike Scott was a teammate of Mookie's and mine in the
Yeah.
minor leagues before he got traded. Great guy.
Yeah.
Roger Craig taught him some good things, I think. So hey, if you're not trying to be better in any way, it's on you.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here, and it's alleged that Mike Scott was scuffing the ball, and you guys are
Okay.
laughing about it. And I'm thinking to I want to go kick this guy's butt. He's cheating.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just want to beat him.
You just want to beat him. And
Just beat him.
but when you start worrying about what someone else is doing as opposed to your own business, then and like Wally said, we had a couple guys, he was in their heads, and that was not a good sign. That worried me more than anything else. That really bothered me more than anything else. At times when we say, stop worrying about the balls, man. They're not gonna check him, they're not gonna throw him out of the game. Let's just go out and play.
Win today and it's over, right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. But hey, what we had a coach one time say, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
I hear you.
The great Mookie Wilson mixing it up here on 86 with Wally Backman. I'm Bruce Jacobs. All right, Mookie, let's get to the World Series, and we're gonna play this at bat. It's an epic at bat. It's one of the great at bats. It is the biggest at bat in the history of the New York Mets, and I don't think there's any doubt about that. First, I want to ask you: 2 outs, World Series. Most kids will tell you dream about being up in that spot. I'm not gonna lie to you, not me. I'm dreaming about sitting down and not being the last. I'm afraid of failure. What are you thinking as you come into bat here as possibly the last out of the season? Or is there no negative thoughts going through your head?
First of all, if I told you there was no negative thoughts going to my head, I'd be lying. Because I didn't think I was gonna get an opportunity to hit. Especially we had 2 of our best table setters starting the inning. We had Wally Backman and Keith Hernandez. What 2 better people you want starting that inning?
Mm-hmm.
You can't think of 2 better people you want to start that inning.
I flew out to left, Mook.
What did Keith do?
Flew out to center.
I know.
Keith flew out also, right?
Yes. So when I was concerned when those 2 guys, one of them didn't get on. If we'd have got one on, they were in trouble. But when those 2 guys made outs, I was saying, wow. And I'll be honest, I said, man, we about to blow this thing.
Wow.
We about to blow it. And I'm sitting there and then Gary gets up, he gets 2 strikes. Things didn't look good. But then Gary gets a hit. Okay, we down 2 runs. One hit ain't gonna help us. Next guy, Mitchell, he gets 2 strikes on him. He gets a hit. And I'm saying, okay, so we got 2 outs, 2 strikes on 2 guys. Ray Knight, he gets up, he gets 2 strikes. Now, what's the odds of 3 guys getting 2 strikes and 3 guys getting hits? That just don't happen in baseball. So I'm sitting there. So at least now I gotta stand up and bet on Dick Circle. I didn't think I was gonna get that far, but now I gotta stand up on the Dick Circle anyway. And I'll stand up there, to be honest with you. I'll stand up there, my token. This time because I had to be up there. He gets 2 strikes and he gets a hit. Now I gotta think totally different now. I can't think of anything negative. I gotta go up there and I say, okay, wow, you got an opportunity here. But let me explain something first. Anybody that lays down and dream of being the guy, all right, that's great in a dream because in the dream you always win. In the dream, you always win.
Yeah.
But in New York, things don't always work like that.
Mookie, you were the guy. You were the guy.
I was out there, but I tell you what, I wasn't nervous. I blocked everything out. I don't even know how many people were yelling. I don't hear anything.
Wow.
All I know is If he throws that ball and we close the plate, I'm taking my best shot, you know. And I'll be honest with you, I was kind of glad that Kevin was taken out of the game. Not big, and I knew him very well, Ciraldi. I knew him very well because he was a teammate as well of ours.
Right.
You know, but when Bob Stanley coming in, I felt really good.
Oh.
I felt really good because I could eliminate a bunch of things because I knew what he was going to do. I knew he was going to a little sinker away. You know, he's going to try to get you a rollover, which I did roll over. I did, but at least I knew. Kevin, I just didn't know I knew it was going to be hard. Whatever he do was going to be hard. But
you know what, Luke? My last question to you, and you've been great. I would love to have you back, and maybe not as long because you probably missed dinner. Rose is mad because your food is cold. But my last question to you, Mookie, is how did you know? No, my last question is really: there's no way that anybody's was gonna beat you to first base, even though Buckner made that error.
Yeah.
The pitcher wasn't going to beat you. I've watched that play 100 times.
No.
And you were still going to be safe. And, you know, unfortunately, you know, again, God bless Buck. Great guy, whatever. Great player. Probably should have been in the Hall of Fame, but that play basically hurt him real bad. The guy with 3,000 hits. But there was nobody going to beat you to first base. And they make that error such a big deal. But you know what? You were safe no matter what.
Yeah. Believe it or not, Butler and I, we've had a lot of conversations. When I say a lot, many conversations about that play. And he and I both agree that if he catches the ball, he's not going to beat me to the bag. He's not going
there was nobody going to get you
to the bag. I mean, it's all academic now because, you know, he missed it and we don't know what Hojo is going to do. Hojo's the next hitter. So we don't know. But the key thing is the score was tied. They were out of pitchers. We still had 3 left.
Not at the beginning. I'm sorry. Well, let's do this. Let's roll this. We have the at bat. We won't stop it because of the sake of time, but I will stop it a couple of times and get your thoughts as before the pitch is thrown. Vince Scully and Joe Garagiola Sr., 2 Hall of Famers on this broadcast, ladies and gentlemen. And we'll roll through the first couple of pitches, Marsh, without pausing it. And then we'll get Mookie's and if Wally has any thoughts. So if you can hit that videotape.
Calvin Ciraldi couldn't do it. And it's up to Bob Stanley. And it's up to Mookie Wilson. And the crowd is alive again. And Rick Aguilera praying that he'll get off the hook. Mookie Wilson struck out, single to right, grounded out, and then sacrificed. And that was the bunt that Gedman fielded and threw high to Spike on at second base.
Dale Ford just checked that ball, rubbing it. Now he's going out to talk to Stanley. I wonder what that's all about.
Stanley throws, among other things, a palm ball.
Now you're licking your chops here. You're facing this guy. You're happy about that.
Hey, like I said,
and the possible winning run at first in Ray Knight.
All right, here we go.
And here's Mookie. Foul on.
Pause the tape, Marsh.
55,078 here at Shea.
Mook, was that your pitch? Was that the one?
My pitch. That's my pitch. I did a little thing at the end because I knew I wasn't going to get it again. That was the pitch right there.
Good solid fastball right in the zone, yeah.
Oh, low. Oh, man. Air to my seat that I'm saying.
Back to the video. Let's watch
I could have hit a home run.
Yeah.
I know you could have. I know.
Saved yourself all this anguish. All right, let's pick it up from there, and we'll roll a couple of pitches here.
The thing is, I can't think of better swing than that.
One ball, one strike. Ball two.
All right,
Hey, pause that
the
for a
tape
second.
second, Marsh. Mookie, you got the count in your favor now, 2-1. And we all knew you liked to swing the bat. You weren't looking
but
for a ball. You like to get up there and get your cuts in.
If you see where I'm stepping.
So
you see where I'm
what's your
stepping?
approach now? It's 2-1. What are you thinking?
I'm cheating outside big time. I'm gonna take that little that sinker you got out there. I'm stepping that. That's where I'm going. I'm looking away, because if he's gonna get me out, that's where he's gonna get me out there, and I am cheating out there big time.
Okay.
I'm looking out there big time.
All right.
But we go on then.
All right, here, pick it up. Let's roll it with Vin again.
And on deck, Howard Johnson, who had that most important at-bat in the 9th inning.
Come on, go ahead, out there.
Two and two.
Now, Mookie, you nick a couple of these. You barely get what seems like you barely get the top of the ball.
Yeah, I think that ball is moving a little. It's going down a little bit, and I'm over the top of it. It's just, I need the ball to be a little more inside.
Fouled away again.
Just a nibble.
Another one.
Tiny piece.
What a great at bat.
Yeah, he's not surprising me or anything. He threw the rat. I had two good pitches that I should have done a lot more with.
Your son played. My son played.
Fouled away.
What a great at bat.
Yeah.
Now, Mookie, coming up is the pass ball wild pitch.
Yeah.
In this, when you see this, I'll ask you after the pitch.
Yeah, I got something to say.
And it's going to go to the backstop. Here comes Mitchell to score the tying run, and Ray Knight is at second base.
Okay.
All right, so what's going on here now, Mookie?
I'm still looking away. And if I'm not looking so much away, I don't have to jump out of where that ball. But I'm looking out there, so it made the ball appear more inside than it actually was.
Yeah.
And if you look back at it again, I think maybe the ball, there's no way that ball don't hit me if I don't.
All right, then we get back to the battle. This is the closest one to being caught right here.
Yeah. That pitcher's up a little bit.
A little inside.
Yeah. That's okay. I don't mind it being down in there. See, that ball don't hit me if I don't. That's not going to hit me.
Not going to hit you.
No.
Mook, I thought that they called it a fastball. I mean, if this is the pitch again we're showing.
Okay, this
is
the pitch right before the play.
Yes. Yeah.
Mookie, are you trying to shield the catcher here? Are you trying to block the catcher at all for his vision?
Oh, no.
Because had Mookie hit just a weak ground,
You got to be light on your feet. That's a World Series. That's the final. That you could have won the whole thing. But hey, we won, Mook. That's the bottom line. That's
all right, here we go.
That's all that matters.
This is it right here.
With 2 out, 3-2 to Mookie Wilson. Little roller up along first, behind the bag. It gets through Buckner.
Nobody's there, Mook. Nobody's there.
No chance.
Look at this scene. Look, Mookie. Now, Wally was the second one. Hojo, I think, was the first one at the plate. I think I had Wally as the second. Mookie, what's going on with you at this point?
I'm headed to the dugout because it's going to get crazy on that field.
You had seen the tape. So you saw the tape from 69 and 73 when the Met fan?
Hey, I saw all of that. I'm going straight to the guy. I'm gone already.
Wow.
No, that was special day, Mook.
All right, you can play this out, Mark. That was great, Mookie.
Hey, I appreciate.
Man, that was so
what
great,
you did.
Mookie.
This
Just
was
to hear
way
you.
beyond and over what we expected.
No, it's my pleasure, man.
What a pleasure this has
I'll
been.
see you in a few months, my friend.
That's good.
I hope we can do
It's
this
good.
again, Mookie. I want to thank
Yeah,
you.
please, let's do. It'd be good catching up with Waldo, man.
I'll try to keep Bruce long-winded short
Yeah.
so we can do something
Yeah,
for
we'll
like
be all
10 or
right.
15 minutes.
We'll be
Listen,
all right.
listen, Mookie. I named the dog Seaver. Okay, you don't name dogs. I'd never name a dog like Spinach. You never name dogs after things you hate. Okay, so that
No.
just goes to show you where my allegiance is. This has
Hey,
been
Bruce,
great.
I know one thing. Bruce. I'm never going to name a dog Bruce. That's what I learned. Yeah. Luke, thank you, my friend. I
My
appreciate it. Love you,
absolute
man.
pleasure, Waldo. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you so much, man.
God bless, Mookie.
Thank you,
Take
buddy.
care.
Tell
Thank
Rose
you,
I
guys.
said
Thank
hi and
you.
I love her.
I will do.
It's a fucking team effort. Do it.
We have added social media to the program, ladies and gentlemen. You can hit Wally up on X. It's Wally, Wally, not IE. Hey, Wally, do a lot of people spell your name with an
Yeah, they
IE,
do.
by the way?
Yeah, they do.
They do. Hey, if you get any bills in the mail addressed to Wally, Wallie, you can throw them out because they got the wrong guy. Okay. Checks are acceptable. Bills you toss. And I never got it. I have no idea who this Walleye guy is. Anyway, you can reach Wally on X, Wally_Backman6. The social media has been rolling in. All the social media postings, ladies and gentlemen, get read and some will get aired. So make them good, make them spicy, do whatever you like. Wally, what do we got on social media today?
On X, just the other night, I got a thing from JP. I wish they would put their names so I could actually say their names. But he says, Wally, did you almost jump out of your uniform during Game 6 when the parachute guy dropped over in Shea Stadium? And I had no idea that people were screaming. Yeah, it scared the shit out of me. I didn't know it was going to happen, but no. Again, I wish these people would say who they are. Um, Another question was from David K. You, Mookie, Jesse were the three who played through the down years and made it to the pinnacle in '86. Can you talk about the culture shift with Keith? Well, let me tell you, Keith Hernandez was probably one of the biggest additions when we got Keith. He was one of the guys there's two guys. There's Keith Hernandez and there's Gary Carter. They put us over the top. We were still a very good team, but these two guys came in, a leader in Gary Carter being able to run the pitching staff, a young pitching staff, and Keith basically ran the whole team. So these were the two biggest assets that I feel that we got during those years. But yeah, no, well deserved. God rest Gary's soul. Keith was awesome.
So, Wally, how long before you think Keith started to make his presence in the locker room? And here's what I'm thinking. A guy, even with his credentials, co-MVP with Willie Stargell in 79. If you come in right away, you try to take a leadership position right away. I'm thinking some people might reject you. So when did you feel like the influence of Keith Hernandez really started? Was it the moment he walked in the clubhouse?
I think the day that he became there, Keith always said that he didn't want to come to the Mets. I think on Keith's side, not realizing what the potential was there because we had been a bad team for a lot of years. And, like they said, me, Jesse, Mookie, QB Brooks, we all went through some of those bad years. But Keith was a big influence on me. I think he was a big influence on just about everybody on the field, so especially the players. I can remember Keith going to the mound. If you throw one more fastball to this guy, I'm going to tear your head off, whatever it was. But Keith was a huge asset that made us win a world championship. And also Gary was too. So, like I said, to run a young pitching staff like Gary Carter did was special.
Yeah. That comment was uttered to Jesse Orozco in the Houston Astrodome, Game 6 versus I think it was Mickey Hatcher or something. If you throw one more fastball, I'm going to come out here and I'm going to kick your ass.
That's fact.
Wally, I want to go back. Here's something that me and my friends have engaged in. I want to go back to the guy who jumped out of the airplane. The tweet from I think you said it was JP. Wally,
Right.
in today's world, I don't think that guy makes it to the ground. In today's world, if somebody jumped out of an airplane over a stadium, I don't think he lands on the ground. Well, any thoughts
I
on
don't
that? And
know.
I
We've
hate to be
seen, you know,
serious
I'm not
about
a
something.
politician, but we've seen what happened to Donald Trump. So, you know, I bet he does make it to the ground.
You think he makes it to the ground?
I think he makes it to the ground.
Boy, that would be morbid, huh? Hey,
I
that would be
loved it.
kind of morbid.
I
People
loved it. You
betting
know,
in the
I've watched
stands. Do
that
you think he
video a
makes
few
it?
times, and every time I watched, I know that I cringed my neck, and I was like, "This guy's nuts." So I loved it.
Yeah, you did. And did you notice a difference in the crowd? In other words, look, they were ready to go anyway. But was it even ratcheted up an octave or two?
Well, they were the crowd was ready to go. You could hear them ranting and raving, but then all of a sudden it exploded, and it's like, wow, we haven't even thrown a pitch yet. And when I seen the guy come over my head, it was like, oh my god, what is this? So, you know, they rested.
Were you worried?
Great, it was great.
Were you worried at all that, my God, this guy is, who knows what this, nobody knows anything. And you look, it's 38 years later and the world has changed. So, but you were never concerned that he was there to harm anybody's safety?
He wasn't going to harm anybody. The only harm he could have done was to kick me in the head. I might have played better.
and excuse me. That was funny. Anything else on social media? Well,
No, not really today. There's a couple of things that I'm trying to save for next week, but I want the people to go on X, and you know I'll be able to do 2, 3, 4 questions a week, and feel more than free to ask me questions. But please give me your name. You know, everybody's got something different on social media. Give me your name so I can use your name, and maybe you can show it to all your friends and buddies.
All right, so it's Wally_Backman6 on X. We'll have more for you on YouTube and also on Instagram in the next coming episodes. When we come back, it's Last Licks, ladies and gentlemen. It's Wally's final shots, my final shots and praises of the week. It's 86th with Wally Backman. All right, let's go. All right, it's our last segment. It might be no, Wally, my favorite segment today, Wally, and normally it's, the first one with you. But, Wally, I want to say this to you. You have made this host very happy. Getting Mookie Wilson on the show is, I just can't imagine two guys on the surface who appear to be so much different. You're like grind your teeth, grit, and Mookie just seems, to the person just observing, just kind of relaxed all the time, and we'll get it done. It'll be done the right way. But I really can't imagine two guys who seem so much different than you and Mookie.
You know, it's funny because Mookie and I are good friends, and we are different. I'm probably more vocal, but I will tell you this about Mookie Wilson. His heart is huge, something that sabermetrics can't compute, and it makes a big difference in baseball. But Mookie and I played together in the minor leagues. We came up to the big leagues together. What a special individual. He got married in Jackson, Mississippi on the field with his wife Rosa. So
Wow.
very dedicated person.
By the way, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to get hold of us on social media, it's Wally_Backman6 on X. Also, next week, the great voice of the New York Mets, Gary Cohn, is scheduled to be our guest, and we certainly look forward to that. All right, Wally, this might be outside of talking to you and Mookie Wilson. My favorite segment. It's short hits, it's little shots, it's praises. It's called Last Licks. Let's get right to it, Wally. And I'm going to start Last Licks today, Wally, with something I don't think I've said in at least 15 years because I really haven't cared at all. Kudos to the United States men's basketball team. Wally, I haven't really watched much Olympic basketball because I felt like if I care more than they do, that's probably not a good thing. But I want to say unequivocally, this was great basketball. You can tell this team, and I mean every single member from LeBron James to Kevin Durant, really, really were not going to lose this game and wore USA on their sleeves. Kudos to the entire American basketball team for winning their 5th straight gold medal.
That is exactly why, Bruce, I want to see the Olympics with Major League Baseball players. So you get to see it with basketball, but I want to see the United States, the baseball, the MLB dominate this sport like they should. And just so people how good playing in the United States, playing in the major leagues, how good it really is.
Yeah. I'll tell you, Wally, that game versus Serbia in the semifinals, that's Jokic's team, the great player from Denver. It was just, Wally, edge of the seat. I'm yelling. That's how intense it was at Olympic basketball. So it was great. That's my first last lick of the day.
Hey, this might be a little bit off the wall, but let me tell you, as you guys know, I fish a lot. And one of my last licks is caught a 65-pound halibut the other day. You can see my nose is a little bit red. This halibut, when I got it in the boat, it got the
Would that
best
help
of
to
me.
kiss you, Wally?
It cornered me in the corner of the boat. It was like getting the shit beat out of you by Muhammad Ali. So I had bruises all over me. That's really my last lick.
No, but hold on. Look, I'm not a fisherman, okay? I don't play one on the broadcast. I know nothing about it. To me, do you have like a favorite spot? Excuse me. Do you have a favorite spot you like to fish at?
Yeah, I put a lot of numbers on the boat. I fish in a lot of places, a lot of different places. I may go 102 miles outside. So hopefully the
All right,
boat
now
runs
stop.
good.
How is that like a good, like if I said to you, Wally, I know a good spot for Italian, okay? How is there a good spot for fishing? Like, are the fish waiting for you? Like, how do you know? Like, I
Let,
don't really understand that, Wally. What does a good spot in fishing mean?
let me tell you the truth about fishing. Let me tell you about the ocean.
All right.
There's only 20% of the ocean have fish in it. So you have to learn, and I'm not giving up my secrets. And we catch our fish. We have a great time, and hopefully we'll be able to put some of these on the podcast. So you'll see some impressive stuff.
All right, my next last lick, Wally. I'm 1-0 in the prediction business. Kudos to me. I gave you the Giants over the Lions in the exhibition opener last week. Hey, am I not Nostra Brutus or what, man? Huh?
Hey,
Wally? Huh?
you're
There
lucky.
we
That
go.
exhibition doesn't mean shit, Bruce. Let's get to the
Wally,
season. What's that?
I ranked the 4 major sports. Listen, exhibition is exhibition, okay? To me, it's all, if you don't care about the outcome, then I'm probably not going to watch. But there are some reasons. In the 4 majors, from the worst to the best, quote unquote, in terms of exhibition, hockey's the worst for me. It's a bunch of big guys who want to fight to show the coach. And, man, it's so boring, man. There's not much hitting between, the more experienced players and the call-ups or the young guys trying to make the team. A lot of them just want to fight to show the coach that, they can play that role. Exhibition hockey is absolutely awful. Next is the NBA. They don't play any defense in the regular season. You think they're going to play defense in exhibition basketball? Please. Next is Major League Baseball. And to me, the best, quote unquote, is the NFL. And by the way, after the first quarter, there's no reason to watch anymore unless you're looking for the young guys. So that's my exhibition from best to worst. Frankly, I think you guys. How many exhibition games did you play in a season? Like 30, like 40, like half a season? It like never ended.
It was probably 30, but I got to disagree with you. Hockey is my best because I actually took my mother and father to watch a game in Madison Square Garden. It was the Rangers against the Flyers. And I said, you're probably not going to see much in this game because it's the last exhibition of the game. And let me tell you something. There was more fights, more blood on the ice than I've seen in a regular hockey game ever. So hockey is my number one.
What are you, a barbarian? What is blood?
I love hockey. It's my favorite sport to watch on TV.
All right, there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, next week we will feature the voice of the New York Mets, Gary Cohn. He's scheduled to join us on the program. We're looking forward to that. Make sure you send in all your social media. We've got Instagram. We're on YouTube. And also you can hit Wally on Twitter, Wally_Backman 6. For Wally Backman, I'm Bruce Jacobs. It's 86, the Wally Backman Show from Soundville Media. We'll see you next week.